to this video on Infamous 2. This video is going to be me getting all the little doodads I haven't gotten already. I was going to make a video on Trials of Osiris, which is basically competitive squared in Destiny 2. It's absolutely sweaty and kind of horrible in different ways. And not in gameplay, the community around it's kind of horrible in a lot of different ways. But with that said, the reason why I'm not making that video is because Chester's mic is again not wanting to work or not wanting to be recorded. So, and because that's what the video is meant to be, me and Chester just playing trials. You hear our callouts, you hear our general thing, because you can't hear half of the conversation. It's just not really entertaining. So this is going to be the video. This video is also going. Oh yeah, I forgot Icon Gray. I thought I had video on because that's great. This video is also going to let me, like, talk. I don't know the right word. I want to say, like, kind of rant. I don't think that's really the right word. About Infamous 2. I've actually been playing Infamous 2 again with the PS Plus 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 thing. With that, I have been doing. Okay. Because it's taking me a PS3 game and I'm playing on PS3, I have to do all of it over again. I have already beaten the game, like, fuck ton of times. I have platinumed it like twice. This would be my third time platinuming Infamous 2 because I can, because that's what I'm working on. But because I have talked about wanting to make another Infamous or reboot those Infamous and make them better, make them just overall just a hell of a lot better, one of the things that I really want to dabble with, and this is, if you have not played Infamous 2, this will make not a lot of sense, but you really should. You really fucking should play Infamous 2 if you haven't. It is absolutely phenomenal. If you do not have PS Plus Plus Plus, if you have a friend with PS Plus Plus Plus, they can actually share screen it with you to let you see it, and if they have good enough net and you have good enough net, they can actually let you play it if they really want to. But Infamous 2 is a very fun game with a lot of powers. It is a power just trip. There's so many different powers you can have that, okay. Trying to explain it so you can understand it in this is going to be very interesting. But first, Infamous 2 does not have a hold a button to do a typical movement and where that is your move to do other things. Like with this, you have circle to dash, and then you can press X while on the ground to do a jump. It doesn't have that. It has R2, which is the actual shoot for this one. That is why. Okay. It's. Okay. For Infamous 1 and 2, it is the top triggers to aim and shoot. R2 is to do, in Infamous 2, alternate abilities like being I think it's like kinetic grasp, something like that, where you can actually send out a pulse around you to pick up things around you with basically electricity, where you're like magnetizing it, picking it up, and then you can hurl it at a bitch, having basically free rockets. It's very handy. And other things like okay. Infamous 2, later in the campaign, you get to share powers with somebody else, which is something I do want to dabble more into in Infamous 2 if I ever get the chance to reboot it, or remake it. But one of the abilities is Ice Launch, which is very similar to that type of thing, where it's a vertical jump, but that is it. It does not really give you a lot of horizontal distance or anything like that, and you can only use it on the ground. With that, I would love to, okay, there's going to be a lot to this, but I would love if when I get to reboot it, if I could finagle different things like that. Because Ice Launch is a good element or a good karmic alignment ability. It allows you to just launch up in the air while on a flat surface. If it allowed you to, say, launch off of walls and different things like that to give you incredible verticality, just instantly up a building, different things like that, it would be a lot better. It would be comparable to a neutral ability that you can have, good or bad, you just have to get enough into the game, called Lightning Tether. Lightning Tether is basically Spider-Man's just thing, not Spider-Man. It's not swing, it's to a point that you want to get to. It's aim, press R2, and if it hits, it will pull you to it. Unless there's something in the way, then you're going to stop, and if you're falling, it's going to take a little bit of time to reach there, so you could have things in the way when you're trying to pull to it. Like, there's a little jank to it. But I think that little jank of having to get there is very good. Everything's like that. Like, it works. But it literally is the best movement tool, unless you're trying to do little things like dash across the water with the bad version, which is on the same tier as the ice launch, which is Phoenix Dash. Phoenix Dash is actually pretty similar to this, where you can actually have vertical movement, or not vertical movement, in air over, but it does not allow you to have any verticality at all, and it costs energy, so you can actually spam it across an entire gap, which is pretty fucking cool, where you don't have to worry about only having 3 launches, you have as many launches as you have energy, which I think should just stay a thing across all of across Infamous 1 and Infamous 2. I think Infamous Second Son, with its general playstyle, fits it very well, but I think Infamous 2 should just be, best way to put it, condensed. Like, not condensed. Condensed is like the same stuff, but smaller, added onto, where it's like where Infamous 2 base would be like the crust of a good pie, and then I'm wanting to add filler to it to make it more and more delicious. Like with the pie analogy, I would, or more cake, because I love cheesecake, going down that route, but still the crust, and then the cheesecake, and then I'm wanting to put like swirls of cherry, because cherry cheesecake is fucking delicious, a little bit little dash of chocolate, because that might be pretty good, and then some cherry like cherry chunk in the middle at the very least. That is what I'm wanting to do, where it's a lot of good all mashed together, like with the ice launch being able to launch off of surfaces, like how these give you verticality. And I'm not wanting to make it Infamous 2, but Infamous Second Son. Like I said, I want to make it Infamous 2, but better. And that is my entire goal. I do not want to take credit for it. Hell, I'd even put Sucker Punch back on the thing. I don't want to take credit for it, because Infamous 2 and Infamous 1, Infamous Festival of Blood, all 3 of those are just fucking beautiful. Infamous 2 is, I think, the best overall, because it is not a proof of concept. They are actually just going deep into what you could possibly do. And with all that, I tried to aim like I was playing Infamous 2. Oh, I thought it was farther down. With the Phoenix Dash, I have with the Phoenix Dash, I have no clue what would be a good change to it. And the thing that makes Lightning Tether so much better than the other two is Lightning Tether literally doesn't take energy at all. You can constantly do it from building to building to building to building, not having to worry about shit. With the ability, I tried to fly like I was playing Infamous 2 with that. It's not the same movement. Actually, that's very comparable, because Infamous 2 does give you a up, with a lot of control in the air, different things like that, and that's actually a pretty good example. But that, with Lightning Tether plus the aerial movement, allows you to just go around corners and just have absolute control in the air, which is kind of fucking busted. Well, not busted, it's just the best version of it, which I think just shouldn't be a thing, especially when there is karmic aligned things that are just worse. Like, I think the karmic aligned stuff is meant to be not necessarily the best, but like very, very potent things that are meant to be used no matter what. At least I don't die. I forgot I have a lot of movement, or horizontal movement with that. Hosh. Another thing I think that should be added on is this game dabbles into it a little bit with how and I'm not going to go into the good stuff or the bad stuff, but how these things have little buffs here and there for your primary fire. In Infamous 2, there is completely different primary fires. Because first, you're only using electricity unless you have gone far enough into the game to use basically cold, like just general cold, not necessarily cryo or anything, like just general cold, or literally fear. And I've said this previously in videos, how Infamous Second Son is not an Infamous game because it's going down more X-Men, Marvel, DC type of stuff, where Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Infamous Festival of Blood all worked off of what is naturally occurring. Things that have to be natural, but it could be as vaguely natural as fear. And sure, it is natural, but it's not natural. It's not like smoke or neon. It's natural. Or it's not like smoke or neon, but it is still natural. There we go. Uh, but with the just electricity alone, or first there is no different primary fire using any of the elements or any of the fear or cryo or cold. I think it's better to put cold. There's no elements using either or with your primary fire. But there's primary fires, like for bad, there is one where getting a critical hit or a precision hit on a human-sized enemy, and there's a lot of different enemies in the human sizes or in the human size. If you get a critical hit, you cause an instant explosion around them, which is just fucking crazy. You can just instantly kill or not instant kill, do a fuck ton of damage to one target with multiple crits, or have an AoE with basic bitches, because you can instantly kill one bitch and possibly kill the next one next to them and different things like that. It's very good. Another bad one on the next tier is the Scythe Shot. The Scythe Shot is a AoE, but very slow firing. The first one is precision based, but pretty fast firing. Both of those are pretty good and pretty interesting, but actually just kind of worse than the good equivalents. Like, for an example, instead of Skull Bolt, which is the hitting a headshot on a human-sized enemy causes them to instantly explode, instead of that, you have a Magnum Bolt, which is actually a alternate fire mode from Infamous 1, just becoming a primary fire mode in Infamous 2, which is a big blast. Like, think of it like a sniper rifle, like a bolt action sniper. Has the same general fire rate, but has nowhere near the same feeling. It's just lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, but with a fuck ton of damage, and that general just hit a bitch hard, is how it functions. But compared to Skull Bolt, that's just kind of better. Unless you're trying to hit crits, but even then, Magnum Bolt's just better for crits because all of that damage, getting a headshot, damn. The tier 2, and that's, okay, Skull Bolt and Magnum Bolt is tier 1. Tier 2 is Scythe Bolt and Bolt Stream. Bolt Stream is basically that. Basically that. And that again is good, and that again is just better than Scythe Bolt. Even better. And the best part about Scythe Bolt and Magnum Bolt and all those different things is if you have completed Infamous 2 on good and bad at all, ever, and you have both saves in the save, even with PS+++, you can have all of the abilities at your disposal. Even if you play it again and try and just play it again, be it good or bad. First, you do have to complete it on good and bad, but then you can have all the abilities at your disposal, which allows you to mix and match and have just a way better time with it. But with good and bad, there is passives. Like with bad, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because, like with Bolt Stream, one of the passives for bad is when you shoot something, you have an AoE, where you electrify it and then it spreads the electricity to other things around it, including other enemies, or just random pedestrians. But with Bolt Stream, you can lay on the trigger and coat everything. I tried to fly again like I was playing Infamous 2. You can coat everything in electricity just with Bolt Stream alone, and with bad, there is... Actually, this game doesn't have that. I forgot that. With Infamous 1 and 2, even Festival of Blood, there is a way to walk, or you have to first knock somebody down. They have to be on the ground hurting, like how you can heal them here in this game. When they're on the ground, you can do 3 things. If they're a good person, you can do 3 things. If they're a bad person, you can do 2 things. If they are a good person, you can heal them, restrain them, and Bioleech. Restrain and Bioleech are things you can do with any enemy, restrain, or anything that you can lock onto. Restrain is a typical, like, subdue in this. But Bioleech is not even in this game. Bioleech is fucking crazy. And the thing that makes me... Okay. This is a hint as to how much power and what exactly Conduit, or Kolmogorov specifically, is absorbing, what his specific power is, and how different things work with Conduit abilities. Bioleech allows him to drain even more ionic energy than he already had. And first, conduits in everything except for Infamous Second Son are made with ionic energy. They are made by specifically a Raysphere Blast, which, think of it as a big boom that vaporizes all people around it that are not conduits, and even then I think some conduits, actually no, I don't think conduits at all get affected by it. I think conduits just they get the energy absorbed into them where they're kind of immune by it, because different things like that. But the ray sphere goes off, absorbs all non-conduit energy, all non-conduit, basically soul. They say ionic energy, but because of the potency of ionic drain, or bio drain, forget what I called it, or what it's called exactly, it's more than just ionic energy, because ionic energy isn't that much to literally give you infinite ammo for 3 seconds, 4 seconds, possibly 5 seconds of infinite ammo, infinite energy, where you can dump rocket after rocket after rocket. Oh yeah, you haven't even seen this. Infamous 2, Infamous 1, and Infamous Festival of Blood does not have the rocket system like this does. Like how the grenades take energy, so does the rocket, so does the alternate fire mode. Everything takes energy. There is no alternate ability or alternate ammo type, which is actually just a big pro, all things considered, because you don't have to worry about shit. You can just shoot if you have the energy, which is pretty fucking handy. But what was I gonna say? Saying something specific. I forget what it was. I bet it'll come to me. I don't know. I am just gonna go get some shit done. Oh yeah, I was talking about BioLeech and how powerful that is. There we go. BioLeech. The reason why I've said in the past that Infamous, or Conduit specifically, use soul energy is because in Infamous 2, the blast cores, or yeah, blast shards are the collectibles, blast cores are the things you're trying to get. Blast cores literally look supernatural. And blast cores are what you use to get more and more power, like unlocking the lightning tether, which allows you to have that Spider-Man movement like I talked about, or kind of Spider-Man. Not really. But because of all of that, the power at your disposal could be absolutely fucking absurd with the shit you could do, and that is what I'm wanting to do, like I said, with the analogy of a very good cheesecake. I'm wanting to add so many extra shots, so many extra different primary fires, rockets, grenades, even... Oh yeah, this game doesn't even have the X button. With Infamous 1 to Festival of Blood, there is not just primary, there's not just rocket, there's not just grenade. There's also another ability, which, okay, first, all of those abilities are not on demand. You have to first be aiming and then press the respective button. Square would be grenade, triangle would be rocket, X would be blast. Blast allows you to manipulate the surrounding environment. Pretty similar to the smoke shotgun blast, and I can actually show you that. There's a vehicle. Need to get you smoking. There we go. It's actually pretty similar to the... Oh, I almost blasted a guy. Pretty similar to the shotgun blast, but it is only to blast people away, or blast things away, and there's different versions of it, like in Infamous 2, there is a blast that is a detonation blast, which you can stick to enemies and shoot it to detonate it, or stick it to the ground, jump on it to get extra height, which I believe is a subclass, or not, I keep on saying subclass neutral, is a karmic neutral ability, but actually, I think it actually gives you the same height, or around the same height as the ice launch, which again is kind of stupid, because they're meant to be karmic abilities that are very fucking powerful. They're meant to be the abilities you're supposed to use, at least to an extent. Like right here, I would have used blast to knock that guy off, which would have done that. Different things like that. And because of the things I'm talking about, I have always suggested Infamous 2 to as many people as I possibly can. Or Infamous 2 specifically. Infamous 1 is a good proof of concept. Infamous Festival of Blood is an expansion on the Infamous 2, Infamous 1 type of thing, but more of a vampires. And best way to explain it, you become a vampire, you get vampire abilities, different things like that. The reason why vampires make sense and not video, specifically video doesn't make sense in this game, is because vampires, like with Fear, could be death, where you're actually controlling the natural thing of death, where you're just like a necromancer kind of thing. And that is natural to an extent, and that is natural enough. Video, no matter how you want to spin it, is not natural. And that is my entire gripe, which is why this game is more Marvel DC than anything else, than any other Infamous game. But I really hope I get the chance to use or to make another Infamous game, or not just make another Infamous game, reboot Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Infamous Festival of Blood, make an Infamous 3, and possibly update Infamous Festival of Blood, because I do not want to have the Skyrim treatment of I make the reboot and they have to buy it all over again, because this was a PS4 exclusive. PS4, you buy it, you get the game kind of thing. I forget what those are called. Like, the reason why you would buy it, so to speak. And I don't want people to want to buy it again. To be... Ooh. The reboot, what I'm wanting to do to Infamous Second Son specifically, and making it like the only PvP, PvE type of game where you're like, it's basically, best way to put it, instead of a looter shooter, more like Destiny in what you can do in it, where you're PvE, PvP, or you have different builds, so to speak, but not a looter shooter, where your builds are your subclasses and your general like playstyle, how you're using the elements, different things like that, but more down the lines of like DC superheroes kind of thing, where you have more, this is what I'm doing, this is what I want to specialize into, that kind of thing, which would be very fucking fun. And because I'm wanting to do something like that for Infamous Festival of Blood, Infamous Second Son, I think making the game free to play, but like a PS4, PS5 exclusive, would be absolutely amazing. And sure, and I'm not necessarily a lot of people are going to play it, but the ones that will play it constantly. Like the people that play, I forget, what was the game? DC Universe Online, I think is the specific name of it. Like those people that play that game religiously. Because it'll be pretty similar to that, all things considered. Because imagine, okay, first I want the open world, at least one, okay, I do not know how exactly I'm going to do it. I'm going to want, like with every game, I'm going to want people to talk to bounce ideas off, because no idea is good first iteration. No idea is. If your idea is good first iteration, blah, that means it's, like, not, how do I put this? If it is right or correct or absolutely perfected the first go around, that's not correct. You can always improve, like a rough draft in trying to write something. There's always room for improvement every single go, at least after the first go. You can never write it perfectly the first go, or make it perfectly the first go. That's not possible. But with the story of Infamous Second Son, and why I'm talking about this more is, or why I'm going to talk about this is because you actually know this more, especially if you've watched my previous videos. Infamous Second Son's story could be more around could be more like how this is, like the base campaign could be literally Delsin's campaign, like little things here and there I think I want to like finagle, fine-tune, but again, I do not want to change a whole lot. If anything, little things here and there, like animations, how smooth things are, like possibly add more to the overall story, like if I do make this, I want to talk to Sucker Punch and the developers that made the game, so I can have more understanding of what they're meaning for the different things. But how I understand it, Eugene having a kind of split personality complex, kind of, because I don't think it is exactly split personality complex as much as a alter ego that has its own pair of wings, so to speak, where it's sure not necessarily him, but it's not him, if that makes any sense, where it's still technically him, which is why it's not going to do anything that he wouldn't. Except be an absolute badass, like he technically wouldn't do that unless it was the angel. But little things like that I would like to add on to and just make it just more, not necessarily in your face, but more pop off the page, pop off the screen, that general thing. But the campaign after that fact, or the story or the general gameplay after that fact, I want to be a hell of a lot different. Where you're, after that, are playing basically DC Universe Online, where the map you're working with is so much fucking bigger, where you have so much more area to explore, so much more area to use your abilities. Like, I would love, like, for an example, the amount of verticality and amount of precision you can have with the general movement could allow you to have a massive tower that you could try and parkour up, which could be like a good test of skill. Like, if you can parkour up it, holy shit, you're amazing. And with that, because after Delsin does his thing, especially going good or bad actually, Curdun K gets opened. You could be just a random Curdun K citizen, unless, hell, how it could work is you could have online or offline, like how GTA has it, where online you have your own personal character, own character you want to make, and all of that, where if you play offline, you have its own campaign, where you have this specific campaign. Could work like that, where if you play offline, you play as Delsin again. If you play online, you play as a random conduit you're making. Something like that. But the conduit abilities are way more, they have to be, way more in depth. Like, so much more shit you can do with it. Like, if you haven't seen Infamous First Light, the amount of abilities Fetch has that she just literally doesn't use in this game, I'm guessing because they didn't think about it, but the abilities she has that she doesn't use and the abilities she has in this that she doesn't use, vice versa, is absolutely fucking crazy. But, like, for an example, if you haven't watched it, I do have videos on Infamous First Light, which one of her abilities, her super, is literally just a fucking black hole she tosses at a bitch. Like, there is no other way to describe it besides a black hole she tosses at a bitch. Which is amazing. And different things like that she just never uses in this game. I would love to just expand on. And there's not just one of every element. Or, not one, every element works. There's not one of every single, element works, I guess. I was gonna try and get a better word there. So there could be multiple of the same element, giving you more freedom and more customization. Like, for an example, there could be a lot of different primary fires, so you can have more customization. Like, for an example, this. Neon could have the typical, like, good ranged alternate, like, good sniper, basically. But could also have, like, a decent AR, where you can rapid fire. This doesn't have a good rapid fire, but more bullet hose, but more precision aspect, where, like, Volt from Apex kind of thing, where it's bullet hose, but with a fuck ton of accuracy. That kind of thing, where you have more freedom with it because you're fully fine-tuning your entire build and set. Which I think would be the skill gap in the game, is how well can you fine-tune your build, what are you trying to do, and how are you working well with your entire team. That general thing. And I do think, like, PvP should be the typical, like, get a kill, like typical stuff like get kills, capture the flag, different things like that. But there could be game modes like good versus bad, and I do think karmic systems shouldn't apply in online as much, because karmic system is very good in in offline play. I think that should still be a thing, but in good or in online play, I don't think it should be as much of a thing, because you could have game modes like good and bad, like it's like karmic scuffle, something like that, karmic something or another, where it's two teams of conduits, good and bad, where their goal is to either, like, kill as many civilians as possible as the bad, or subdue the enemy team as good. Something like that, where it's I think the right term is asymmetric shooter, where both teams has a completely different objective that fights one another, where one's objective is to do something, where the objective is to just survive, kind of thing. Something around those lines, where it's a free-for-all battle kind of thing. And with different abilities like this, the slow-mo, a game that has a slow-mo ability in a online setting is Cuisine Royale, or Curse, depending on how you know it. That game has abilities that are pretty cool. One of them is actually slow-mo on a character. I have no clue how it works because everyone technically still runs real time. Just for you, perceptively, everything goes in slow mo. And if, say, you get a headshot in that slow mo, it actually does count for them. So, say you go slow mo, person's running, you get the dink. For them, they're a lot farther. For you, they're not, but they still die regardless. That general thing. Something like that could happen for this general ability, which would be kind of cool. And little things like that would be amazing. And I do want to do a little fine tuning, like I've said, across all the Infamous games if I'm ever allowed to make it. And I will pour my heart and soul into it, like I'll pour my heart and soul into every game I ever make. But I think a little bit more so because those games are literally my childhood. The first three, Infamous 1, 2, Festival of Blood, are all my childhood. Festival of Blood, less so. Infamous 2, okay. I played Infamous 2. First, I played Infamous 1. Infamous 1 was an absolute blast. I played on PS3. It was absolutely fucking fun. But it was one of the first PS3 games, so the graphics weren't that good and different things like that. It was still absolutely fucking fun. Infamous 2, I first got as a demo. I played that demo so much. Like every single day I played it and played it and played it because it was literally Infamous 1, but better. And again, I played Infamous 1, platinumed it like 3 fucking times, all on the same console. Because I could. Or different consoles, because PS3 broke, got a new one, had to redo it. But I beat it that many times, platinum that many times, and then I got Infamous 2. Or the demo of Infamous 2. I played that over and over and over again. And that demo is an amazing demo. If you've never seen it, if you've never played it, that demo is amazing because it throws you in the deep end, so to speak, but not the very deep end, where you fight the first biggest bitch. Not like a super mega boss, but like the biggest bitch you would fight semi-regularly for a specific faction. I'm not going to go into it. If you want to look it up, you can. But that specific enemy, I fought over and over and over again. I studied that bitch because it was fun. And that demo is what is just an amazing version, or an amazing example of how a demo should be, where it's not okay. That demo didn't have complete freedom. You did have to, they had a time limit, and you had to redo it. Time limit, and you had to redo it. But you had complete freedom in what you could do with the abilities. You didn't have to worry about shit. You could just run around, do shit like that. But you had a limited time to do it. So either you could do the campaign, unlock shit, or just run around and have fun. I did both a lot. But that game was my childhood for a good couple years. And even more so after I got the actual game, because I dumped even more time into it, not prestige, got the platinum on that, and got all sorts of shit. Because that game's just fun. And something amazing, if you have looked up Infamous 1 and Infamous 2, the differences between those two is a good couple years apart. Infamous 1, the graphics are pretty shit because like all the different games of that general time period, of that time period in the PS3's life, all the games looked kind of bad. They're like going from PS2 to PS3 or better graphics. Infamous 2 came out a good bit later and was a lot better graphics just overall, like genuinely a fuck ton better engine, better everything. And the reason why you saw everything just freeze there is because I was looking at how much or how long this video is going. But yeah, sorry that bet that was audible because I was moving the mic. I'm gonna grab this. I would really love to make a remaster remake of Infamous 1 and 2, and I know I've said that multiple times, and I know I've ranted about this, but damn. The shit that could be done nowadays with Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Infamous Festival of Blood. The shit that could be done nowadays is just fucking crazy. And I say that because I have been playing games all of my life. Literally, before I can remember, literally before I could remember, I was playing Halo 1, 2, and 3. I think it was 2 of them. I don't think I played all of them, but I was an Xbox person to begin with in my gaming.
Better part of a year in Curtin K in the corner of her cell, curled up in the fetal position. She might be a badass laser beam throwing conduit now, but back then, with no drugs to keep back the demons, a loud voice was more intimidating than her. That was all part of Augustine's plan. Break her down, train her, then break her down again. It was sad as hell. When I saw Fetch's escape on the news feed, I had to fight to keep from smiling.
Huh. That wasn't actually in First Light, which is interesting. And little things like that is, okay. Because of the continuity errors in like Infamous First Light and Infamous Second Son, I would love to fix that and make it more of a streamlined thing. Like if I do get the chance to reboot all of this and remake all of this, I would want to remake Infamous First Light, but like if possible, mix it into Infamous Second Son because it's really just a game mode. It's not anything special. The campaign is really just to show off your abilities and give you more. The campaign is nice and all, but it's really short, all things considered. You can just burn through that incredibly fast. But, what was I going to say? I was talking about... Infamous. Of course, I was talking about Infamous. But what about Infamous? I was talking about the continuity errors between Infamous. Yeah, I would like to make them one game overall, and because of what I'm wanting to do, it'll be a hell of a lot better. Because Infamous First Light is basically just different game modes tacked onto Infamous Second Son, and you can even play as Delsin if you have both games. Which, if I do get the chance to, I would love to just streamline everything and just make this entire thing just more of an ecosystem. And that's something I'm wanting to do for literally all of my games that I ever make, is make my games, best way to put it, its own world and ecosystem. Like, for an example, to change the conversation entirely from Infamous to my game that I'm going to make, RRP. RRP is going to be its own ecosystem entirely, where you are wanting to do different things, where you're wanting to learn about the lore to give you more help with how to fight different things, where each enemy has reasons for doing different things it does, where the weapons have reasons for doing different things they do. Like, for an example, I've talked about how the gunplay is going, how the gun crafting, so to speak, is going to work, where there is no such thing as gun crafting, where your guns are completely customizable to what you're wanting to do. But there is a main thing the gun does, like depending on the type of gun, the frame of gun, and what specific thing it rolls with, because I do think I want it to be more of a looter shooter than anything else, but I do want weapons where if you don't want to grind, if you don't want to do the looter shooter aspect, you can still have fun, which is why I'm wanting to hone in on everything's balanced, which would let you have a lot more fun. But when you do grind for it and get a better weapon, like it does stand out a little bit, be a little bit more powerful, but not like you need it, which is going to be a very delicate balancing act. But with all of that, I would love to make every game I ever make, and I will try my absolute best to make every single game I ever make have that same general ecosystem feeling, where it's its own world. It's not a game. It's not a random art piece. It is its own world where you could go places and do things to learn more about the world. Very similar to Destiny, but in more of a, like, for an example, RRP. Something I'm wanting to introduce or something I'm wanting to do, is have a library where you can actually walk into it, get different books, like go from bookshelf to bookshelf, get different books. This is going to be a lot of typing, a lot of writing, a lot of shit. Like, I'm planning on making this game years after I have my PC, and I'm planning on dumping a lot of time and effort and money into it, like something I'm wanting to do multiple things, but so I can have my own shit. There's no data miners and all sorts of shit. What I'm wanting to do is have it where when you buy the game, it is more of like a key to get into the game, where everything about the game is on my own dedicated servers, which dedicated servers will allow you to have instant reg for bullets, different things like that. It'll just be better for gameplay, all sorts of things. But my personal favorite thing is I want to have data miners fucking over everything, because the amount of times data miners have literally led the community astray, be it on purpose or not, because I wouldn't be surprised if they were on purpose, because the backlash people have had because their favorite data miner was wrong, and they were really wanting that, even if what they got was absolutely beautiful, still complain and still didn't want to play it, still didn't play it because the data miner was wrong, is saddening to no end. Because in Destiny, for example, people have stopped playing the game because the data miner was wrong. Even though what they actually got instead of what the data miner said was better, they still stopped playing the game because it was wrong. And that's just mind-boggling to me. But that's the Destiny community in a nutshell. It's ass backwards in the best way to put it, where they don't want anything good. They just want to bitch, complain, and just constantly see the negative of Destiny, never the positive. But that's a completely different conversation for a completely different day. But, and going back to that actually a little bit, Trials of Osiris is more toxic condensed fumes versus the general community wanting to pile on all the shit onto Bungie itself. That kind of thing. Oh yeah, I do remember what I was talking about, where I did start on Xbox for a little bit, which is why I actually have, or a good bit ago, what I was wanting to talk about, how I started on Xbox 360 until I got a Red Ring of Death, and then I switched to PS3, because my parents looked into it and it was just the best. And from that point on, I studied a little bit more and just realized Xbox is just shit. Just overall, it's just horrible. PlayStation has better exclusives. Even PS3 had better exclusive, PS4 has better exclusive, PS5 has better exclusives, they have better everything about it. And something that PlayStation has above Xbox entirely, like every aspect of everything, is they constantly innovate. Like, did you know that the PS3 had a pressure-sensitive triangle button? I never knew that until I got a PS5, actually. Right before I got a PS5, I was still on my PS4 getting to PS5. I did not know that until that point, because I noticed that the triangle button was a little bit mushy, but I never knew why. I thought I just broke it because ham hands. But no, that's actually because it was pressure sensitive, which is absolutely crazy, and Xbox does not do shit like that. If anything, they backtrack, like the Red Ring of Death. And if I remember correctly, Red Ring of Death was because Microsoft wanted to be greedy and wanted out right then and there, and that is a glitch that they could have fixed if Microsoft didn't want to be greedy and compete with PS3. If I remember correctly, 100% correctly. I think it was something around those lines. But all of that shit makes it where Xbox is just worse, completely and utterly, than PlayStation overall. And it's crazy how I've heard more about PS3 has no games versus Xbox has no games, because they literally just have Gears of War and Halo. That's it. Where PlayStation has Infamous, I want to say Spyro, but I don't... That's a Sony game, right? Yeah. Spyro's a Sony game. Crash Bandicoot's a Sony game. Ratchet & Clank's a Sony game. All these different games. And I know they're not necessarily PS3, but Infamous 1 is, Infamous 2 is, Infamous Blood is. All three of those I do count as different games because they are different games, and all those are exclusives that are fucking beautiful. And I didn't really play anything else as a kid, to be completely honest. Or I did play other things like Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1. I grinded a fuck ton off of that, but I didn't grind. I just played a lot of zombies. I played so much zombies, all the zombies maps started to become very boring and easy. which is why I've always just loved Transit, because that's never easy. It's always a challenge because the map itself is a challenge. That itself wants to kill you. Like, if you never played Transit, right after you turn on power, or in the power station in Transit. First, Transit is a massive map, so it's just fucking beautiful on that alone. Second, Transit, when you turn on power, you get a specific boss, and that doesn't matter. That does not matter. Or you get a boss that could spawn if you have lightning storm above you and you end the round. That boss will fuck you up unless you have your entire team working on it to kill it. It's better off, at least when I last played, to just not. I might be able to kill it myself now because I'm just a hell of a lot better overall, because I've just grown up and gotten better at gameplay and better at just overall movement or hand-eye coordination, because when I was younger I didn't know where my fingertips end or anything ended because I constantly grew. I'm a 6'2" male that is broad as fuck. I never stopped growing, basically. But what was I gonna say? I was saying something. Fuck. After that boss spawns when you turn on power, but it also opens the way out of that power room, because you jump down, you can't get out unless you turn on power, and then you can get out. But once you get out, there's a jump, like a little bit higher up on, like, you go upstairs, around a corner, and then there's a jump. If you fail that jump, you die. You lose everything, and even if you have Tombstone, which if you've never played Black Ops, Tombstone allows you to pick up all your weapons, not your perks, but all your weapons, like especially in Black Ops 2, not your perks, just your weapons, when you walk over your Tombstone and pick it back up. But if you fall in the pit, your Tombstone will not spawn anywhere except in that pit, and you cannot grab it, because if you grab the pit, if you go in the pit, you die. So, you literally lose everything if you fall in that pit. I loved that bit because it was a challenge, and okay, zombies could jump over the pit and different things, but they had a specific area they jumped over, where if you're good at it, you could use the pit as a guaranteed, you can't hit me as I'm jumping, and then scram around. Okay, I have a mode, or not a mode, a way I play Black Ops Zombies, or a type. I am not a trainer. I am not a kill-stealing bitch boy, and anything like that. What I do is run around and kill the enemy, or kill the zombies I just see walking around. If I see a zombie, I kill the zombie. But how I survive is run through the horde. I call it ballerina, because I dance around the zombies just outside of their reach, so they can't hit me, but where I can actually run through little gaps in the horde, because I've studied zombies, Call of Duty, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, Cold War, even World War 2. Different World War 2 game. But all of those ones, I have studied the zombies to the point where I can do what I like to call ballerina, which is part of the reason why I love Transit, because of how I play. Zombie maps aren't a problem to me, because I know how fat my ass is and how long the zombies' arms are. So I just don't have to worry about shit. And with that, I barely ever hit box, because wall weapons are just better than box weapons, typically, because you can always buy ammo for it and never have to worry about shit. Different things like that. I'm a very weird individual, because sorry, but I just thought about that, because I am not a meta-hugging scumbag at all. Not scumbag, that's harsh, but meta-hugging scumbag, and meta is the only thing they ever use, ever. They try to have SDKs, yada, 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 like that level of meta-hugger. I've never been that. I've dabbled in meta shit because meta shit's just fun. Like, you should always dabble in meta shit here and there to see how it actually plays and being able to compare it to other things you might want to do. And that's what I typically do. But I have always changed the meta, so to speak. Like, for an example, and I know people typically use, like, Black Ops 2 in Origins. People typically use the MP40 because the MP40 is just an amazing, just versatile weapon. I used basically any wall weapon that was halfway decent because of how I played. I didn't have to worry about ammo. I just had to remember where the gun was. Because every single time I run out of ammo, I have generated like triple the amount, no matter what weapon it is, no matter what round it is. I have generated basically triple the amount of points I needed to buy ammo. So I have practically infinite ammo, and I have an extra weapon. And first, I never used Mule Kick because Mule Kick always threw off my muscle memory. If it was on like a whole triangle or another input to pull out that third weapon, like in say, for example, Destiny, that would be fucking beautiful. That would just be the better way to do it. It's just on 3-tap, which is just feels so horrible and throws off all my muscle memory. Because not even on 3 rapid taps, it's just tap it 3 times, you switch to your third weapon. But I always had, like, say, the MP40 and the Thunder Gun. Like, those were my 2 dream weapons every single time I played Origins, because that's just fucking beautiful. Or Origins specifically, the Fire Staff. Like, Lightning Staff if I could get it, Fire Staff if I couldn't. But, yeah, that is just how I play. I never really cared about anything that was meta, because specifically in zombies and typical PvE games, there is not really a meta. And even in PvP, I always like to change the meta a little bit. Like, actually, that's not even an example. I was going to say my Trials build, but I'm not really good at Trials. That's changing the meta, so to speak. If I was good, like could actually hit my shots every single time, knew the weapons in and out, I know I could tear absolute face apart. But I'm not that good. That is 50. This is very similar to the last video I made on Infamous, which was just a lot of ranting, but at least I got a little bit done. And I did want to talk about Infamous 2 the entire time, or since I made the last video, but I want to talk about Infamous 2 a hell of a lot more, and just the general, like, build crafting is what I wanted to call it, but it's not really build crafting. Like, the powers at your disposal, just how the general game plays, different things like that, because Infamous 2 is just a beautiful game that I think a lot of people should play. And with a lot of people should play it, I really want to make a reboot because that would give a lot of people a reason to play. Like, if, say, for example, and even if I don't make it the reboot, if, say, Sucker Punch just makes 3 reboots and just makes it open, like, just completely overhauls it, does a complete just tidying up and refresh of everything. That would make it where people like, say, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and like just whoever, what blank YouTuber you really, really like, it doesn't really matter who it is, would want to play it. And specifically gaming YouTuber. If they have a PS3 or PS, not PS3, I was thinking of Infamous 2, that's on PS3, Infamous 2, 1, Festival of Blood remake. If they have a PlayStation 5 or 4, because I do think like the remake should be on both, because it's just a remake. Both of those, if they have either of those, they would want to play it, because that is just an amazing game, especially if they do remake it as well as I think they can. And not even think, I know they can. Because, like I've said multiple times, Infamous 1 was a proof of concept, and Infamous 2 was an expansion on that proof of concept, but not to the fullest extent I think they can, especially nowadays. The shit they can do nowadays just makes me, best way to put it, salivate, but mentally. Best way to put it, where it's, holy shit, that sounds fun, and I really want to play it, even though it doesn't technically exist, at least yet. And I hope you understand what I mean and what I've talked about, and just the general vibe, so to speak, of what I'm talking about, because the shit that they could do with an Infamous reboot, remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it, it would be like not the next greatest game, but like one of the games people will talk about for generations to come, if they could actually make an actual good reboot. Because first, if you didn't know this, Xbox basically said they lost the console wars, which does open the floodgates for for PlayStation to show off, to absolutely flex their shit, to absolutely say, you wanted to quit? We didn't even go all out yet, motherfucker. Like, that type of, you want to say you quit? We'll show you why you quit. And that would be an amazing thing. And I know that that's like kind of egotistical how I put it, but Xbox has only ever gotten publicity because they brainwash. Basically, they have specific games that specific people want to play. Like that sounds okay. Specific games like Halo, which is nostalgic above anything else. Like for an example, Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite is barely even a Halo game. Like the campaign looks fun. From what I've seen about the multiplayer, it's barely even a Halo game. Like it's more battle pass microtransactions than anything else. You have more customization technically, but you have to buy every single piece of armor, different things like that, where it's less Halo, more Call of Duty, which I personally just fucking despise. And like I've said, I played Halo when I was younger. And so much, in fact, I played Halo so much, and keep in mind, I've always done shit like this even when I couldn't remember, and this is like one of the very few things I do remember playing Halo, was I played it so much, I got bored of killing the enemies in the campaign. I realized while just doing my thing of killing things, I missed an enemy, walked to a loading zone, was turned around actually to kill the enemy, and then I realized the enemy despawned. Like, I didn't necessarily know the exact words for it, but the enemy despawned. And then that instantly made me smile. I remember that smile like it was yesterday because it was, oh, I have a new way to play. Because keep in mind, I played on like second to hardest difficulty in the campaign. Like I've always been kind of good at games. I'm autistic. My things games. Just putting that out there. That's why I'm so good at games, and understand them, like different things like that. My things games. But I saw that, smiled, and from that point on, went on. I went every single mission running past the enemies, not shooting a single shot, and studying how to do it. Like, some encounters, I had to kill some enemies because I couldn't get past them unless I killed them. Like, I remember correctly, there was a chasm that had snipers, and this is digging way back in my memory vault, but if I remember correctly, there were snipers that I couldn't actually get past because they could, like, two-shot me, three-shot me. And this road, or this length, I couldn't actually get through. So I had to actually kill him to get through, but I didn't kill anything else because that's the only person I actually had to kill. I just had to avoid the others, which was hell of a lot of fun. Because I didn't have to worry about shit. I just played the game. Or, because I didn't have to worry about shit because of how fun it was, and when I died, I died more than if I actually shot something, which was fun, because I like a challenge, not... Okay, in the Trials video I was going to make, I said multiple times how the matchmaking in Trials just sucks, because the matchmaking, the matches you typically get is, you win. You possibly could win, you get bitch smacked. And those three could happen in any order, but it happens those three. Like, you could go decent match, get bitch smacked, you win. But that general thing. I personally think everyone in PvP and everyone in general will prefer a actual challenge, where it's that middle ground, where it's you could win, you could lose, where it's a fair fight overall. But sometimes, like in games like Destiny and general build crafty games, and this could be even applied to Call of Duty to an extent, because something I think should be implemented in PvP overall, and something I'm going to implement, I think I talked about this previously, is build-based matchmaking. Fireteam-based matchmaking, which is Destiny thing, and just a couple others, like build-based matchmaking, how good you are with the build, what your general playstyle is, where you could slot in. Like, for an example, my game RRP is going to be more like TF2 in PvP, but not where you're pushing a cart or different things like that, where it's more TF2 and how much freedom and how much team coordination you should have and different things like that. But there's no classes, you can put whatever you want on, so similar to TF2, but not at all, really. But similar to TF2 because I want even the walls and the general environment to be part of the gameplay, where you have rocket jumping, where you have all sorts of shit that play with the environment itself, where if you know the map, you have more fun with the map, kind of thing. But with that, I would love to have a not build-based matchmaking, where build-based matchmaking is what is your build, how good are you with it. I'm wanting to add another thing onto that, and how you're good with it is another thing, but a third thing onto that is what I'm wanting to add is something similar to something along the lines of you say, for example, you are a assault. You're going to go in there and just tear shit apart as much as possible. For an example, this game mode has 6 players. You're supposed to work together and just general team coordination. You are going in to fuck shit up. You want somebody to back you up, somebody to cover your ass, and back you up as in like heal you, give you support, give you covering fire in that medium range. And then you want somebody to cover your ass or cover his ass as the tank, just keeping the ground that you already take it. Those 3 basic builds and general concepts of gameplay is what I'm wanting to mesh together, where that's what you're wanting to pick. Like it's this, go together to make a good